talked about big clubs raising money, and yet the small grassroots communities are struggling with finance. So do you think Footiefunder.com will be able to help small communities raise money? And what are your expectations?
Yeah, as long as it is also a watchdog for where the money goes and you get feedback for the things that your money is useful for, I think it's a good idea because in the last few years, and right now I'm talking about Spanish football, which is the one I know the most, a lot of small clubs, instead of going for the grassroots and giving young players a chance to develop their games, they have tried to just sign good players from other clubs, even from abroad, acting like they were Champions League clubs. And it's not like that. You are in a regional scale, you're a small club, so you have to work with a different model. And maybe with this kind of funding, the people that give the money can not just order them what to do, but they can give their influence, and then they get the feedback and they give back, and it's a more open process.
Peter, you talked about you cannot just go onto Footiefunder.com and say, I want 50 or 100,000 euros and get it. You talked about you must have an interesting project, a project that actually would make people sit and think.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me I want money just to play football games, I say okay, but it's not just that thing that will make me give you my money. You have to present or show me a project with more implications, with more angles, especially for the community. If you are in a neighborhood here in Barcelona or in a small town where there is no sports for little kids, that makes it more interesting and more appealing for people to contribute.
So it has to have a social impact, i.e. if you're raising money for a community football, grassroots football, the people within the community must benefit. It shouldn't just be a way of raising finance for clubs. But what about small clubs who are not in the Spanish First Division or English Premiership, but are in the lower divisions and are really struggling to raise finance? What about those ones as well?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about the most. I think this is this kind of website, this kind of platform is more useful for this kind of clubs. If they have a very interesting project that is difficult to get to the mainstream media, maybe through this kind of platform, they can show it to a broad audience of people, and they can raise the money necessary to get it done.
And you talk about once the project is executed, you would, as a contributor to the project, because you financially backed it, it doesn't matter whether it's 10 euros or 15 euros, you want to see for yourself what the money has been used for. Is that something that you're particularly concerned about?
Well, for me, feedback is not number one, but number two priority in this kind of interaction. You have to know what people are doing with the contribution that you make, not because you have to be the boss, but you want to really feel good about the contribution that you're making to a football club, to a basketball club, and to the social impact, for sure.
So overall, assuming that the security of everything is right and that there's good feedback for a particular project for communities, do you think crowdfunding for Footiefunder.com as a crowdfunding website can really impact the world of football at the grassroots level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it can be really useful for small clubs that have a really good idea for the community, for the little kids especially, because you know, sports in that grassroots level is fundamental to give kids. It's another way of learning, it's another way of education, and in that sense it can be really useful.